Hi, this is Jay Billis of ESPN, and you're listening to the ML Sports Platter.
The ML Sports Platter, back with you all over the major platforms like Spotify, Google, Apple, Stitcher, Deezer, iHeartMedia, Amazon Music, you name it. Download, subscribe, leave feedback, and a 5-star review. We are brought to you by Camillus Golf Club, the Vince Aguirre Consulting Group, Rosie's Corner, and CNY Electrical. Log on to cnyelectrical.com. Commercial and residential electrical needs in and around Central New York and the greater New York State area. Sean and his staff do an amazing job at CNY Electrical, a proud ML Sports Platter sponsor. So as I record this, the Yankees won last night 3-1. And it just doesn't matter. Yankee Twitter exploding, taking it day to day. All the cliches come out, right? Getting the confidence back. The skid is over. This is all after Brian Cashman telling the Yankees, we do believe in you. Aaron Boone is our guy. The same rah-rah bullcrap in the Bronx that we've experienced for the last several years. And even though the Yankees won, and even though they got a great start out of Jameson Taillon, who I thought actually could have gone out for another inning, and even though the bullpen was really, really good, and even though at the end of the day the goal is to win the baseball game, right? The inability to score for the Yankees during the game, it was real again. And in a win, it might have actually been the most pathetic display all year, which is really saying something in terms of, leaving people on base, the runners in scoring position and all the rest. They went 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position, left 7 guys on base, and the inning in the 8th inning, they got handouts. I mean, that's really all it is. Aaron Hicks is hitting like 160, right? 4-pitch walk. That's a handout. Aaron Hicks is so dreadful. How do you walk Aaron Hicks, And then, later in the inning, they walk in, the wild pitch happens, right? And then obviously you had the bases loaded walk with Mike Ford. So it's pathetic. The runners in scoring position thing is just, it's beyond a problem now. It's just an embarrassment. And listen, even if the Yankees rebound and make this a great regular season, which they very well could because they're built for the regular season, they hit a lot of home runs. We've only played 16 games so far, for at least the Yankees have. Even if they were to turn this thing around and win the AL East, they're still going to get drubbed in the playoffs. Because all of these things that they have in terms of, where they're exposed, they will shine brightly in the postseason. Trust me. Lack of starting pitching, exposed. That creates your bullpen to get taxed, exposed. Don't hit with runners in scoring position, exposed. If you don't have starting pitching, bullpen, timely hitting, you're going nowhere in the postseason, And the Yankees have Garrett Cole. And that's about all I know they have. You might be a Yankee Twitter, Yankee Homer, one of these, new age Yankee millennial fans who screams from the hilltops, everything's good, right? Everything's great. Everything's amazing. Jameson Taillon's going to be the next, David Cohn, But the reality is, Taillon still probably is only going to be able to give you 5 innings in the playoffs, right? And if he gives you those innings throughout the year, plus the postseason, the bullpen's going to have to go in and try to save bacon. It's just not going to work. And then you have all these other guys swinging for the fences. I mean, Hicks and Judge and Stanton and even Frazier and Torres. I don't even know what Gleyber Torres' swing is anymore. I really don't. I don't even know what the hell's there. I can't even I can't even wrap my head around what the heck he's doing up at the plate. I mean, the guy is completely lost, and I don't know if the inability to play shortstop with the Yankees putting him in a bad position to play short. He's not a shortstop. You play him at second base. Is the fielding part now creeping into his head that he can't do that? And now at the plate, he's trying to overdo it. He's trying to do too much to make up for all of his blunders in the field. I'm not sure. But this win doesn't do anything for me. It's a 3-1 win. Whoop-de-doo-dah. The Braves are good. Great. I get that. They didn't have Acuna Jr. in there with the abdominal strain. I think he's going to be out several games, I guess. I mean, he's day-to-day, but it looks like several days. But still a very good team. The Braves aren't really great offensively right now outside of Acuna and outside of Adrianza, the right fielder who had who had another hit and an RBI in this game. And he was at a very, very nice start to the season. I mean, he's got an OPS of over 1,000. He's a really, really good player. And obviously they can move him around the outfield quite a bit with Acuna being out. You can play him. You can play him in you can play him in the outfield. You can play him. I mean, he's a third baseman by trade, but you can play him in the outfield, which they did against the Yankees. Other than those couple, I mean, Pablo Sandoval in the Panda Bears kind of had a little renaissance here. He's hitting 333 as I record this, but really that's been it. They've had splashes. I mean, Heredia, the center fielder, Heredia's been really good too. So, Guillermo Heredia, he's 30 years old. He's a veteran, baseball nomad. The Cuban, he's been pretty good. And then they've had flashes from, Riley and Swanson and guys like that. Albies has not done anything yet. Darno, hitting around 200, 215. Ozuna, nothing really that special yet. Freddie Freeman's only hitting 233. So it's been splashes from guys, and then it's been like Heredia, Adrianza, and probably and Acuna, and Sandoval. Those guys, so they're not, it's not a 1-9 juggernaut here. There are holes there. This isn't the Dodgers. But the Braves are still a pretty good team. They're decent. I picked them to win the division, win the World Series. Charlie Morton, typical Charlie Morton stuff. I mean, Rays, Astros, just shoving it up the Yankees' behinds. I mean, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, gave up the home run to Gio Urshela, but I didn't think. I mean, Morton took the hill, and I didn't think the Yankees were going to be able to score a run. I really didn't, because their offense is so putrid. But things are not going to get better. Just because they won this game, hell, they could win both against Atlanta. They could go on a, win 15 of 18 type stretch, 21 of 25, 25 of 32. 35 of, of 42, 45 victories. It won't matter because the makeup of the team is the same. They're over-reliant on right-handed hitting, and from a power standpoint, they all swing for the fences. This team is also aging very fast, and it's funny now to listen to national baseball people, New York media, right? Man, the Yankees roster, I can't believe. I did shows on this a year to 2 years ago. Multiple shows, multiple articles about the Yankee window fast approaching a close because they have too many guys who are getting up there. I mean, Judge, Sanchez, all those guys up in near 30. LeMahieu, mid to upper 30s by the time he's done with that deal. Stanton's contract is the worst in baseball. He'll be in his upper 30s by the time that's done. Aaron Hicks on the books until age 37, which is absolutely deplorable. Garrett Cole will be up there by the time the contract is into that midway to upper point. Okay, Brett Gardner's already 37. This is not a young roster. I mean, this is why all those cracks that they had going to the postseason, winning 100-plus games, the ALCS surprised in 17, last year, 2 years ago, 2019. Sometimes 2019 feels like last year, by the way. But you have the rematch. You got to win that series. You got to get to the World Series at that point, right? I mean, especially LeMahieu hitting home run, to tie it up late. You gotta win that series. I mean, you've got to get 2-1. You've got to win one with this group, and I just think this team is really now far, 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 far away from it. And they just get worse and worse. I mean, they get worse and worse at the plate. The approach at the plate is abysmal. I just had Kevin Kernan on from Ball 9, and we talked about this ad nauseum with, the Yankees and Stanton in particular. I mean, he just goes up there, and he just looks like he doesn't want to be up there. He looks like he doesn't know how to swing a bat, how to play baseball. And it's a major concern right now for the Yankees. I mean, this is brutal. This lineup is brutal. I mean, it is right-handed, dominant for power, swing for the fences all the time, no matter who's on base. And there were a couple of moments where, I thought the Yankees did a decent job from a pure, hitting standpoint. Aaron Judge had hit the ball the other way. LeMahieu did, but LeMahieu almost doesn't count when we talk about anything with the Yankees because he's like the guy, who you wish could hit 9 freaking times, right? I mean, let's be honest. They showed some decent things hitting-wise at times, but the overall team is just, that's who they are. Now, I will say, with Tauchman and with Ford and with Gardner, to a degree, Aaron Hicks, when he's in there, he shouldn't be in there. But, if you have a right-handed hitter and, you play him at left, from the left-handed side, I don't know. I mean, I guess you got to kind of platoon and flip around and screw around and put people in because, if you play Tauchman and you play Gardner, you're not playing Hicks. Judge is in right field. And that's what they did. They pinch hit Hicks. They pinch hit Frazier last night. But when you put Tauchman in there and Ford in there and Gardner in there, and by the way, Gardner hitting third, I mean, what is going, why? Why do they keep doing, oh, wait, that's right. The stupid analytics, the geek squad in the front office with Brian Cashman, a bunch of morons. I mean, is it possible in life to be more dumb and more clueless about something, but yet be so smart with a degree that says so in these Ivy League guys? I mean, really. It's an embarrassment. But I will say this, I like this lineup better. And I'll say it again, like I did the year before. Giancarlo Stanton is such a waste of time at DH. He's hitting 170, by the way, as we record this. Aaron Hicks hitting 160. Listen to some of these batting averages, by the way. And Mike Tauchman's brutal at 111. I know what I just said about the left-handed side, liking those guys to be in there more. But batting average, with these analytical morons, batting average doesn't matter. It's our OBP and RBI. Okay, well, RBI, Yankees aren't even getting RBI, by the way. But batting average has to matter a little bit. I mean, when you look at numbers like this, 111, 160, 214 from Sanchez, 182 from Torres, 170 from Giancarlo Stanton, how does batting average not matter? 214 from Brett Gardner. When it's that low, how does it not matter? Just like if somebody's hitting 340, how does that not matter? I mean, come on. This team is pathetic from a construction standpoint, but I do like when the lineup is the way it was last night better. And I will say it again, and I got sidetracked with the batting average thing because of Stanton. I would, when Luke Voit comes back, and where I stand, I did a podcast with Matt Michael on this. We both agree that, they should have traded Luke Voit because Luke Voit is exactly like so many other players in that lineup. He fields his position at, on an average level, and he just swings for the fences, and he's a right-handed power guy. So, to me, though, they're never going to trade Luke Voit because that's not something Cashman would do because it's too intelligent. But if and when Voit comes back, bench Stanton for a couple of games. He's making $30 million. I get it. Guy's clueless. Give him a series off. You know? I mean, if it were me, I would almost pull like a Tory when he, lowered A-Rod in the order. I would almost send Stanton to the alternate site. Like, hey, here's 7 to 10 day vacation. Go kick your feet up. Go take a nap every day. You'd be more productive than up at the plate, with guys on base. My God, Stanton is a joke. You play Luke Voit there, and all of a sudden you got a different deal there. At least Voit can get the ball to the outfield to get a run home if there's somebody on third. So, you Yankee fans, you go nuts. You go nuts over your 3-1 win over the Braves, minus Acuna Jr. You go nuts about the fact that they beat Charlie Morton and. See, we didn't have to sign Charlie Morton in the offseason because we just beat him. Well, actually, right? They're relying on damaged goods after Garrett Cole and Tyone and Kluber. Herman's been horrible. Severino, roller coaster career for the Yankees. Who knows if he's going to come back? Lack of starting pitching. Jordan Montgomery, still a question mark. Lack of starting pitching creates tax bullpen. Overabundance of right-handed power hitters. Can't put the ball in play. Can't get guys home. Striking out all the time. Lack of speed. Terrible defense. Guys who just don't belong. Plus putting players in positions they don't belong. A la Gleyber Torres at short. And sticking with players too long. A la Gary Sanchez. Yeah. What are they going to do? Rebound and win the AL East? Well, bravo. Because they're going to get crushed in the postseason. Absolutely crushed. All right, before I have the second part of this podcast here, I wanted to quickly tell you folks about Bryant and Stratton College, the official college of the ML Sports Platter. Go ahead and visit bryantstratton.edu. That's bryantstratton.edu. 2 and 4 year degrees start all the time. Make sure you go get your degree crafted at Bryant and Stratton College. A big thanks as well to the Allen Angus Pub, Brian Conboy of Mass Mutual, New York State, and Stanley Law Offices, an ML Sports Platter title sponsor. Together, they'll work to get you the maximum award. So I'm going to do a little cross-promotion here on the ML Sports Platter. For many of you out there who listen, and again, I can't thank you enough for the downloads and the subscriptions and the 5-star reviews and the feedback. Please keep it coming. That stuff goes a long way in the podcast world. I also host Bills Brawl for the Brawl Network, and I just recently had on NFL Hall of Famer, the former Buffalo Bills head coach, Marv Levy, 4 straight Super Bowls with the Bills. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Recently had him on my podcast, and so I'm going to play that interview inside the ML Sports Platter for a little bit of a cross-promotion. Here is the Hall of Famer, led the Bills to 4 straight Super Bowls, the great Marv Levy.
Listening to a Brawl Network production. This is a podcast for the best fans in the NFL.
Are you in the mafia?
Am I in the what? It's time for a Bills Brawl podcast.
Second down and 7, coming, hit the tide, touchdown! Bills win!
Allen, deep shot, touchdown! On the line to Stephon Diggs.
And Sermon breaking tackles at the 22, inside the 10, touchdown Buffalo!
It is time for another episode of the Bills Brawl. I'm Mike Lindsley, your host. Hit me on Twitter at Mike L Sports and, of course, at Bills Brawl as well. All a part of the Brawl Network. Bills Mafia, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm about to bring on a special guest. If you're a Bills fan, you can't thank this guy enough. You really can't. He, of course, was the head coach of the Bills from 1986 to 1997. He's a Bills Wall of Famer. He has 112 wins in his Bills career. NFL 1990s All-Decade Team, 4-time AFC champion, 4 straight Super Bowls, Sporting News NFL Coach of the Year, 2-time UPI NFL Coach of the Year as well. And he simply is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's the great Marv Levy. Marv, thank you for a few minutes. How you been? Good to talk with you again.
Well, my pleasure. Always great to find a way to communicate with NFL, and especially, of course, Buffalo Bills fans.
So through the 2020 season, as you're watching this Bills team get to the AFC Championship game, how was it for you? It must have been an incredible ride to watch it and an emotional feeling for you, kind of taking you back in time to the glory days when you were head coach.
Well, yes. I have to admit, I'm not nowhere close to following it as I did back in the days when I was coaching, of course. I used to know every assistant equipment manager and every team in the league. I couldn't name the full Bills roster or their full coaching staff right now. I am blown away, by the way. Coaching staffs now have 20 people or more. That would be confusing to me. Nevertheless, to answer your question, sure, I sure felt great for the Buffalo Bills fans, for the organization. I had gotten to know their new coach, Sean McDermott, think very highly of him. On the side, he's a William & Mary alum. I coached there for 5 years. Every single player on the team, they were the essence of the student athlete. Every single one graduated and went on. And so I felt very strongly that tie, too, was there. And once in a while I did get the talk with Sean over the years. But like Bills fans, I was excited by the progress they're making.
You know, Marv, there have been a lot of people who think that McDermott is has a little bit of Marv Levy in him. You hear that. And Josh Allen has a little bit of Jim Kelly in him. When you hear that comparison, the head coach and the quarterback and that connection, you know, what does it mean to you to kind of be connected to these current guys, and that bond is important, right, between a head coach and a quarterback, because you really got to be on the same page, and you and Jim were, and it seems like Sean and Josh are as well.
Well, that's probably true. Again, I'm not as deep into understanding their relationship, but it sure does have to be good. And if people are comparing me with Sean, that's a compliment, because I do have a lot of regard for him and how he's handling the situation, how he handles those setbacks that do occur during the season. Yes, this is the best quarterback since that the Bills have had since Jim Kelly. And so those comparisons are understandable, very definitely.
Marv Levy, the Hall of Famer, our guest here on Bills Brawl. I'm Mike Lindsley. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? I mean, Marv, they're printing T-shirts of that saying still. The fine folks at 26 Shirts and Del Reed, they're printing shirts. People still say that all the time. And this year, people said it a lot again, because every Sunday was like the old days, like the 90s. You know, Bills fans were getting crazy over their team. When did that saying really start for you? Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? When did that start? When did you first use it?
Well, all right, I'm going to take you back a long, long way. Way back when I was an assistant coach at the University of New Mexico in the 1950s.
Wow.
Our head coach, he had been my college coach when I played at Go, Dick Clausen, a wonderful guy, was offered the athletic directorship at the University of Arizona. He took it. We were spring practice over thing, and they promoted me to head coach of the New Mexico team. At that time, I was the youngest head coach in major college football. Many years later, I was tied with George Allen for the oldest in pro football. But getting back to your question, right before the kickoff of the first game that I coached, we were there in Albuquerque, the wonderful Sandia Mountains in the background. It was a beautiful day. The band were playing. The pretty cheerleaders were dancing. And the players gathered around looking for a little bit of wisdom. And a feeling washed over me, and I blurted it out. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? And that's what I said before the kickoff of every game I coached during the remainder of my coaching career.
Oh man, I love those teams growing up, and I was 90. I was middle school, high school back then, and every game I felt like the Bills were going to win. You could pencil in 12 or 13 wins and home games in Orchard Park and 4 straight Super Bowls and the games against Shula and Marino. And, oh, my gosh, what a time that was, Marv. And so it brings me to this. Do you feel like, as the head coach of those teams and as time has moved on, do you think that the country has embraced the 90s Bills and what you guys did? Do you think that the country has understood more and appreciated what you guys did going to 4 in a row? You didn't win one, but getting to those 4 and being that great of a team as time has marched on, do you think people appreciate you more?
Maybe so. I often run into people in the airport who will come up to me and knows me and tell me, quote, I am the number 1 Buffalo Bills fan. Once I had to say somebody, I have never met the number 2 Buffalo Bills fan. But, the Buffalo Bills fans were a part of the reason that spurred us to fight our way back despite the terrible disappointment of losing those games, to fight our way back in again. They were fantastically and still are supportive people. And it's very interesting to know that about 20% of that Buffalo Bills fandom did come from Canada. Yeah. So that added another very pleasant twist to it all.
Marv Levy, the Hall of Famer. A few more questions here on the Bills Brawl. I'm Mike Lindsley. 4 straight Super Bowls, amazing. A Wall of Famer and a 90s All-Decade Team member. I just brought up Shula, Don Shula, a minute ago. What do you think Don learned from you through the years, and what did you learn from Don? I know the spirit of competition on the field was one thing, but you guys grew to be real good friends, Marv, through the years.
Absolutely. I had great respect for Don Shula. He taught clean football. He played by the rules. He had so many qualities that I had hoped to emulate. We became great friends even when we competed so fiercely with each other. And then in the many, many years after that, we did stay in touch. We were excellent friends. I can remember one humorous situation at a league meeting one year when we were both still coaching, and my very young, pretty daughter was there with us, and Don said, hey, Marv, I'd like to introduce your daughter to my son. Well, both of his sons were coaches. I said, wait a minute. If they wind up getting married, Don, she'd have a coach for a father, a coach for a father-in-law, a coach for a husband, and a coach for a brother-in-law. Forget it.
No way. Yeah, that's good. You know, Ralph Wilson was a part of the Foolish Club. He and Lamar Hunt and the whole crew that challenged Al Davis. They challenged the NFL. Said, look, we're top dogs too. I mean, we're pretty good over here at the AFL level. And Joe Namath, Super Bowl III. We know the history, Marv. Ralph Wilson is the owner of the Bills. As we go through time again, that appreciation thing. You look back at what he did. Why doesn't Ralph Wilson Jr. get the credit that a Lamar Hunt does or an Al Davis does? You know, he was a part of that group. He made a lot of decisions. He helped the TV money. He helped the AFL really break in with the NFL. Why doesn't he get more respect, Marv?
Well, from the people within NFL community, he sure does. He was a fantastic guy to work for. High character. He'd sometimes speak very strongly about something. I remember one time 2 of our coaches got in a fight with each other at a team meeting, and it upset Ralph, and he called me and he said, Marv, I want you to fire those 2 guys. I told him, Mr. Wilson, I can't do that, even if it costs me my job. They're high character guys. It was finally he said at the end, but I still don't agree with you, but you're the coach. And Ralph and Bill Polian, our fantastic general manager, and I were able to communicate so well, often disagree with each other, but never be disagreeable. And he was a wonder, and he made some darn good suggestions sometimes too. And I'd adhere, and when I didn't follow some of his suggestions, we could still be on a very amiable relationship.
Steve Tasker not in the Hall of Fame still really bothers me. What made Steve Tasker so special as a football player, a guy, and goodness, Marv, I mean, he should be in Canton.
There is no question about it, Mike. The football is the game of football depends on three equally important elements of play: offense, defense, and kicking. There are one or two kickers in the game, but there has never been a special team player without a doubt anywhere that can come close to comparing to Steve Tasker, whether it was covering kicks, blocking kicks, so many other things that he could do so well. And I remember Don Shula, who you mentioned one time before one game when we were chatting out on the field, our teams were warming up. He said, Marv, you know the guy we have prepared for the most on your team? He said, not Jim Kelly, not Thurman Thomas, not Bruce Smith. He said, Steve Tasker. Here's a guy that was elected 7 times as one of the co-captains of our football team. He went to, I don't know the exact number, but it was in the area of 10 consecutive, All-Star games, NFL All-Star games. He was once picked as the MVP in the All-Star game at the end of the year. He is so deserving. I just continue to push and hope that he can get in to the Hall of Fame. And I also think one other, I'm going to deviate a little bit, I will continue to campaign, too, for Cornelius Bennett to go up on the Wall of Fame at the Bills Stadium. His contribution, he was the final missing piece when we finally added him and all those other great guys that catapulted us into Super Bowl type abilities.
I love talking with you. I love the realness of you, Marv. I always have. You've been so great and so kind, and just know so much about the game and so much about life. It's one of the most real conversations. I've been doing sports media now for 20 years or so, and it's just been such a delight. You've been in the GM chair though as well. I mean, you retired from coaching. You come back to the Bills as a general manager for a short time. How hard is this time of year? I know it's a different era than even you as a GM or as a head coach, but how hard is it right now? How nerve-wracking is it as a head coach or a GM preparing for the NFL draft?
Oh, no, it wasn't nerve-wracking. Honestly, it was almost part of the fun. There were things, though, within the internal part of the organization that sometimes you disagree. Mr. Wilson thought we ought to get this guy, or Bill Boyd said, oh, no, I'm telling you, this guy up is here. There's a lot of conversations. You have to organize it well. In our organization, once again, with a general manager like Bill Polian, was so well organized, and we were collaborative and cooperative in there. But I can remember one time when we needed a running back very badly. We needed a running back very badly, and we didn't have a first-round choice. We had to trade it away for Cornelius Bennett. 6 running backs went in the first round, and our running backs coach Elijah Pitts had been campaigning all along. He thought the best one in the draft was some guy from Oklahoma State.
Thurman Thomas, yeah.
His name, by the way, in case those fans have never heard of it, was Thurman Thomas. Yeah, sure, they never heard of it. Anyway, Elijah campaigned, but Thurman had come off of a very devastating knee injury, and everybody was afraid his career was over. And I did make a call to their coach. He said, no, he's coming back pretty well done. So we went ahead and Elijah campaigned so hard. He had followed. He said, this guy, not only a great player, he has character and so on. And so we finally said, okay, we're going to take him. And, of course, he gained more yardage than the 6 running backs picked before him combined in their career. And
there's no doubt.
One day at practice, by the way, about the first 2 months into his first year there, I called Elijah aside and said, Elijah, this guy Thurman Thomas, You talked about, did you say that he had character or that he was a character? Because he was a lot of fun, and he was a prankster and things of that nature. He was a character.
Yeah, I thought the NFL Network really missed it when they did the top 10 running backs of all time list. You know, they did the positions all the time, and everyone, QB, wide receiver, running backs, the all-century team, I guess is what I'm thinking of, not the top 10 running backs, although I don't even think he made that list. He should have been top 10 running back list of all time easily. He was an all-purpose back who was dominant during that time and almost a pioneer of sorts for guys like Curtis Martin and Marshall Faulk and other dual, LaDainian Tomlinson, dual players. What a player he was. I mean, just an unbelievable difference maker. Marv Levy, the Hall of Famer here on the Bills Brawl. Marv, two real quick ones to go here, and I'll let you roll. What did you learn in the CFL during your time?
Well, I tell you, one of the things I learned is that the same things win there that win in the NFL or in college or in high school. It's not your system. It's not whether you run a no huddle or not. If you run, throw, block, tackle, catch, kick better than your opponent, you're going to win. Fundamentals. And speaking of fundamentals, I remember one day, hot preseason camp we were at, when Bruce Smith came up to me after practice one day and said, "Coach, I got a question." He said, "Who put the fun in fundamentals?" Because we did work on them very hard. And that was, there's so many things that I did learn. I also learned it isn't just a good coach or a good coaching staff or a great quarterback or the best defensive player ever like Bruce Smith. That was why you win. It's total organization. Owner, GM, scouts, people in the front office, people in the ticket office, the coaches, of course. Total organization, which contributes to success.
So, Marv, final thing for you, and this has been so incredible to have you on. You kind of are like Yogi Berra in a way to me, just to me, maybe, or maybe to others, where I feel like you've lived, 10 or so lives inside one life, where you were in World War II, and you or a head coach in the NFL, and you were in the CFL, and you had all these other outside interests and successful stories to tell, and you have such a respect for everyone in every walk of life, where you've been. Do you ever think about your accomplishments in that you've had that many lives inside one, according to me or others, that it's remarkable what you've accomplished? Do you ever sit back and think about it?
Well, I think about the lives and what I've enjoyed. Certainly coaching has been I've been so fortunate with a wonderful family, wife, with a daughter and great grandkids, with friends, being hired by a general manager like Bill Polian, coaching guys like Jim Kelly, and I can keep running through so many others on the roster that the sun would set before I got off the phone with you. But no, I've been very fortunate. Great parents. My father, the hero of World War I, the Battle of Belleau Wood,
wow.
And a wonderful mother. I am such a fortunate person.
Well, this has been amazing. 4 straight Super Bowls with the Buffalo Bills. One of the great coaches of all time, a Buffalo Bills Wall of Famer. It's Marv Levy. And Marv, for those World War II years in 1943 to 46, every American thanks you, of course, for that. And thanks for coming on the Bills Brawl here. You're a true class act, and you've come out with me many times. I saw you at the mall in Syracuse. I've met you multiple times, had you on so many of my shows, and it's just a delight to talk with you. And thanks so much for coming on, and thanks for the memories, man. Really.
And thank you, Mike. Always a pleasure to talk with you and be able to convey it to the great fans there. Thank you too.